How to keep yourself and your friends safe. Behavioral and mental health information brought to you by your middle school counselor, Mrs. Iggy. Ask and mindsets and behaviors. These are the standards and goals for this lesson. B-SS8, advocacy skills for self and others and ability to assert self when necessary. Students will be able to identify signs of depression and/or suicidal thoughts or thoughts of self-harm in themselves and others, then act appropriately using the 5 steps from #BeTheOne2. Directions. On the next slide, you will be shown a series of questions or statements. I will then read the statements, then each teacher should pause the video, ask the class to guess the correct answer, then play the video to reveal the correct answer. You may want to pause after every statement unless your class is able to respond quickly. Pretest. This is all based on Florida statistics from 2020 Youth Survey. In 2020, blank percent of middle school students reported feeling depressed or sad most days. Pause the video here. Okay, the correct answer is 45% of middle school students reported feeling depressed or sad most days. Number 2, the statement, "At times I feel that I am no good at all," was something blank percent of students, middle school students, agreed with. Pause. Okay. The statement, "At times I feel that I am no good at all," was something that 46% of middle school students agreed with in Florida. Number 3, blank percent of middle school students sometimes thought that life is not worth it. The correct answer is 27%. Number 4, the third leading cause of death amongst individuals ages 10 to 24 is blank. Pause the video here. Okay, the third leading cause of death amongst individuals ages 10 to 24 in the state of Florida is suicide. Number 5, in Florida, someone passed away by suicide approximately every blank hours. The correct answer is every 2 hours. Some of these statistics are shocking, but unfortunately, they're true. So today, we're going to learn how we can prevent these things from happening. Next, we have a true or false section. What I recommend doing is just pausing the video, asking students to hold their thumbs up if they think the statement is true, or thumbs down if they think the statement is false, and then I will give the answer for each statement before moving on. Number 1, if an adolescent wants to kill him or herself, there is nothing anyone can do to prevent its occurrence. Thumbs up for true, thumbs down for false. This statement is false. There is actually a lot that you can do, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Number 2, the majority of adolescent suicides occur unexpectedly without warning signs. Thumbs up for true, thumbs down for false. This statement is false. Most suicides actually do have warning signs, and most students even tell someone. Number 3, most teenagers will reveal that they are suicidal or have emotional problems for which they would like emotional help. Thumbs up for true, thumbs down for false. This statement is true, like I somewhat messed up and told you just a second ago. Number 4, parents are often unaware of their child's suicidal behavior. Thumbs up for true, thumbs down for false. This statement is unfortunately true. Number 5, talking about suicide in the classroom will promote suicidal ideas and suicidal behavior. Thumbs up for true, thumbs down for false. Thankfully, this statement is false, which is why we're talking about it. Number 6, adolescents who talk about suicide do not attempt suicide or kill themselves. Thumbs up for true, Thumbs down for false. This statement is false. Number 7, the only one who can help a suicidal adolescent is a counselor or a mental health professional. Thumbs up for true, thumbs down for false. This statement is false. Anyone can help someone who's having these thoughts. So from this point forward, if for any reason you feel as though the topic is too much for you to handle, it's too sensitive, or you need to take a break, please let your teacher know by raising your hand quietly and requesting a break. Mrs. Iggy will be out in the hallway, roaming around, making sure that nobody needs immediate assistance. If you would like an appointment with Mrs. Iggy, there are ways to do that at the end of the lesson. And if you have any questions and your teacher is unsure how to answer it properly, just write them down and Mrs. Iggy will be sure to get back with you. So how do I know if someone I care about needs help? Step 1, learn the signs, aka the facts. So F for feelings, A for actions, C for changes, and T for threats. So feelings, actions, changes, and threats are what we want to look for. This is all given to us by a program titled SOS, or Signs of Suicide. Recognizing the facts, looking at feelings. Feelings such as being hopeless, saying things like, things will never get better, helpless, I can't do anything right, worthless, I have no reason to live, guilt, shame, self-hatred, I'm useless, or it's my fault, sadness, anxious or agitated, feeling trapped, like they have no way out, confusion, as in they can't think straight or make decisions like they may normally have been able to, and some actions to look for: aggression, rage, and seeking revenge that's not typical. Some people naturally are more aggressive and have more rage than others, but if this is not typical for your friend or yourself, that's when you really need to pay attention. Risk-taking, recklessness without thinking. So when they're willing to do something that you think is reckless and they don't think about it at all or care what happens to them, that's concerning. Withdraw from friends or activities, family or society. So someone who used to hang out with a certain group of people or used to do certain activities and now they don't want to, that could be a sign. Becoming accident prone. And accident prone might belong in quotation marks because oftentimes students or children or adolescents will say that it was an accident and it seems like they're having a lot of accidents all of a sudden, and it's not. Getting in trouble and having discipline problems when they never used to have those issues. Increasing drug or alcohol use, and themes of death or destruction in their talking, texting, or social media. Now we're talking about changes and threats that you should be aware of. Changes include personality changes, so they might act the opposite of what's normal for them. They can't concentrate on school, work, or routine tasks that normally they'd be able to concentrate on. Loss of interest in hobbies, so things that they used to enjoy, they no longer enjoy or no longer wish to partake in. Marked decrease in performance, so they're doing not as well on their assignments, their homework, their tests as what they used to. Unable to eat or sleep, or sometimes sleeping and eating all the time. Sudden improvement after being down or withdrawn. So if someone seems like they're depressed or is having issues with depression, and then suddenly everything's fine, that is a very real issue that you should be concerned about. And a dramatic mood change, whether it be dramatically declining or a dramatic increase, is always something to pay attention to. Threats. These might seem obvious, but some people still miss them. Statements such as talking about suicide directly or indirectly, writing or written themes of death, and preoccupation with death. Threats such as, I won't be around much longer, writing a suicide note, or making a direct threat. Plans, giving away prized possessions, making arrangements for themselves or for other people when they're gone, studying the effects of certain drugs, or even obtaining weapons or pills. These are some major warning signs to remember. Emergency warning signs. If you see these, you're recommended to call 911 or the emergency service number for your county. It says country because this is worldwide. If you see or hear the following, I would be more likely to go and get an adult immediately with the person than to call 911 necessarily. But if you feel like you need to call 911, then that's the thing that you feel like you should do. If someone is threatening to hurt or kill themselves or talking of wanting to die. If someone is looking for ways to kill themselves by seeking access to weapons or other lethal items, this can be searches online or physically looking for something in the moment of despair. Someone talking or writing about death, dying, or suicide. Again, I recommend finding an adult, but if you feel like in your gut it's a really big issue, then never hesitate to call for help. Calling for help is the best thing that you can do. If it's not as big of a deal as what you thought it might have been, at least you called for help and that person knows that you care about them enough to do that. Other warning signs of suicide. This is when you want to contact a mental health professional or a hotline. If you see hopelessness, rage, uncontrolled anger, seeking revenge, acting reckless or engaging in risky behaviors or activities seemingly without thinking, if they're feeling trapped, like there's no way out, if they're increasing alcohol or drug use, they're withdrawing from friends, family, and society, they have anxiety, agitation, are unable to sleep or are sleeping all the time, or if they had dramatic mood changes. So how can I help? Are you worried about a friend? If you are, you should ask, are you okay? Be there for them. Work to keep them safe and help them feel safe. Connect them to resources and always follow up. These are the steps that we're going to walk through. So remember to act. If someone comes to you and is showing some of those signs that we consider the facts, their feelings, actions, changes, or threats, you always remember to act. A is acknowledge the person is going through something serious and ask them, are you thinking about taking your life? Don't minimize or ignore the issue or change the subject. Care. Let them know that you are there for them. Say something caring like you matter to me or give them a hug. And T is tell a trusted adult that you're worried. Keeping this information is a secret is risky and dangerous. Even if you don't believe your loved one would ever follow through with suicide, it's better to be safe than sorry. That's why I said if you feel like it in your gut you need to call for help, then do it. Parents can instruct their children or teen that if they ever have concerns about themselves or a friend, they will be there to listen and take it seriously. The same thing for teachers, counselors, or anyone else that's an adult that can help you. So ask, are you thinking about suicide? Are you having thoughts of harming yourself or taking your own life? So how can you ask? Well, first, you have to communicate in a way that shows that you're open to talking about suicide in a non-judgmental and supportive way. Be direct and unbiased and promote conversation that allows everyone involved to determine the next steps. Never, ever promise to keep their thoughts of suicide a secret. Remember to listen after you ask. Their reasons, their pain, and potential reasons for continuing to stay alive are crucial for helping them. So why? Studies show that asking an at-risk individual if they are suicidal does not increase suicides or suicidal thoughts. You're not going to put it in their head if it's not already there. In fact, studies suggest the opposite. Findings suggest acknowledging and talking about suicide may in fact reduce rather than increase suicidal ideation. Next is be there. Physically sit with them, talk with them on the phone, show them that you are there to support them. So how can you do this? Determine how you can be there with them. You may not physically be together, but you might be able to get them on the phone. Do not commit to anything that you're not willing or able to accomplish, such as physically being with them when you can't always do that. If you don't live with them, you can't always be by their side. However, you can commit to being available on the phone, but maybe your parent takes away your phone at night, so don't commit to being able to answer in the middle of the night. Find out who they believe will be helpful to them for when you're not able to be there. So talk to them about who else they can go to that might be able to help them if you're not available. Why? Being there for someone with thoughts of suicide can be life-changing and life-saving. Increasing someone's connectedness to others and limiting their isolation, both in short and long term, has shown to be a protective factor against suicide. By being there, we have a chance to alleviate or eliminate some significant factors. Keep them safe. Do they have a plan or know how they would commit suicide? If so, remove those objects from their possession immediately. You always want to ask if they have a plan if they've said that they're thinking about killing themselves. So, how? Listen to their plan or plans. Sometimes they might have multiple backup plans. Listen to their history, if they've harmed themselves or attempted suicide before, and the methods that they have thought about using. It's a really, really difficult conversation to have with someone, but in the end, it can help save their lives. So it's important. Always stay with someone who's actively planning to commit suicide until an adult can step in to help. So if you're with someone and they are telling you that they're going to commit suicide and they have a plan, meaning they can tell you exactly what they're going to do not leave them alone. If you're not physically with them and you're on the phone, go tell a trusted adult that's nearby you so that they can contact an adult that's nearby them. So why do we do this? Knowing the answers to each of these questions can tell us a lot about the imminence and severity of danger the person is in. If they have immediate access to an object that could be used, contact an adult, emergency services, or the suicide lifeline for help or helpline for more advice and support. The suicide lifeline and helplines are not just there for people who are thinking about suicide. They're also there for the people who love them and want to try to help them. And they'll walk you through everything that you can do. Help them connect. So the lifeline number, which you have on one of your cards, is 800-273-8255. Introduce them to the school counselor or another adult that you trust. So how can you connect them? Have your list of resources available as often as possible so you're prepared if someone may be at risk. You should have a list of resources at the end of this presentation on the worksheet that you've been given. You also have a small card that will be able to help you if you are in a situation and you need to be able to help someone. Talk to your counselor for good resources to use in case you need them. That's what we're doing today. And research other available resources to find something that you might prefer. There are apps, websites, text lines, and so much more. So why do we need to do this? Research shows that individuals who called the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline or call or other text support lines or apps were significantly more likely to feel less depressed, less suicidal, less overwhelmed, and more hopeful by the end of the calls handled by a trained counselor. After that, you want to follow up. After connecting your friend to someone who's trained to help, remember to reach out frequently to see how they're doing. This can be something as simple as a text message, a phone call, and check in to see if there's anything more that you can do to help and support them. It might be as simple as just checking in daily with them to see how they're doing. Something as simple as a thumbs up in the hallway as you pass during passing period. If they respond with a thumbs up, they're good. If they respond with a thumbs down, they're not so great. But that's a simple check-in and they know that you're there. So why do we do this? It helps increase feelings of connectedness and the feeling of having your ongoing support. Even a simple message can potentially reduce their risk for suicide. Follow-up has been shown to reduce the number of teen deaths by suicide after they have been released from care services. So what resources are available to me? There are crisis lines. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 800-273-8255. It is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We can all help prevent suicide. This lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention and crisis resources for you and your loved ones, and best practices for other professionals. 1-866-4U-TREVOR or 1-866-488-7386. The Trevor Lifeline is a national, confidential, 24-hour, toll-free suicide prevention hotline aimed at those who are in the LGBTQ community, so lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning youth. If a young person is looking for someone to listen and understand without judgment, or if he or she is feeling suicidal, the Trevor Lifeline is available, and all calls are handled by trained counselors. There's also a link here, and you will all have access to this through your Schoology. Available resources that are Florida organizations. We have the Florida Initiative for Suicide Prevention. This supports and believes in a collaborative effort to address the risk factors that contribute to the incidence of suicide. Florida Suicide Prevention Coalition is a Florida grassroots coalition whose mission is to collaborate to develop and implement suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention strategies and programs. Their vision statement: a coalition of Floridians for the elimination of suicide in our communities. This is an excellent site for up-to-date information and resources. Suicide Stops Here, the Florida Suicide Prevention Implementation Project, and the Yes Institute. Other available resources, which are advocacy groups and organizations: the Yellow Ribbon Society Prevention Program, Light for Life Foundation International. Yellow Ribbon is dedicated to preventing youth suicide specifically and suicide attempts by making suicide prevention accessible to everyone and removing barriers to help by empowering communities and individuals through leadership, awareness, and education, and by collaborating and partnering with support networks to save lives. You can go to their website, yellowribbon.org, to find out more information. And today, you're going to be given a yellow card or a yellow ribbon card that you can use if you need to tell someone that you need help. National Alliance on Mental Health, or NAMI, offers an array of peer education and training programs, initiatives, and services for individuals, family members, healthcare providers, and the general public. Their website is nami.org. So find a full list of resources at the link provided below. Again, this presentation is going to be in my Schoology, the counseling Schoology that you all should be already in. So if you need to go back through it, you can. The handouts that you will receive today, if you haven't already gotten them: one is a note sheet that you can keep and have on hand if you ever need it. So teachers, please don't collect that note sheet unless you want to take it for a grade, but then always make sure to give it back. Second, you'll be given a card with the warning signs, the ACT steps, so the acknowledge, care, and tell steps, as well as the hashtag be the one to steps, which are the 5 steps to helping someone. And a yellow ribbon card that can be used if you're too afraid to say you need help, but feel comfortable handing it to someone. So if you or someone you know needs help and you don't feel comfortable walking up to an adult or friend and telling them how you're feeling, you can just hand them the card and they will know right away that you're needing assistance. Thank you for your participation. If you or someone you know needs to talk to someone, Mrs. Iggy is available for you, or you can use one of the provided resources. Remember, you can be the person who saves a life.